Hey guys, good to see you guys again. Today I've got a really cool little update video that we're doing. If you guys remember, I did a video about 2 years ago about the NiSi filters, and at that stage I was probably one of the first people in South Africa that shot with them, and I simply contacted them and asked them if I could review the product, and they sent it through to me, and yeah, I did the video. And to be honest, at that stage I wasn't very impressed with the product. The filter holder system was fantastic, really cool. The filters itself did not have the same impact as what my Lee filters, my go-to system, had at that stage. But recently, a good friend of mine, Milan, started a company called Landscapegear. You can find them landscapegear.co.za, I'll link them below. They are now the sole distributors for NiSi filters in South Africa. And Dewald has been so kind as to lend me a set to play with and review it again for you guys. And it's not really going to be a review, it's just going to be a straightforward comparison as to what I saw last time and to what it is now. And there's a couple of little things we're going to chat about. Right, so let's get going into that. Right, first off, let's start with the holder system itself, because the holder system is really a magic part of this whole filter system that you're going to be using. So this is the old filter system. Let me just quickly open up this for you. Oh, by the way, it comes in this beautiful little pleather case now. It's got this little strap that you can clip around your waist, so, and you can also hook it onto there, so you want to hang it around your shoulder, around your neck or whatever, hang it up underneath your filter, or your tripod or anything, if you really want to do that. So this is nice because this is a protective case. This magnet is not particularly strong. I found in my backpack that this has gone open and the filters nearly fell out. But inside it's got this plastic filter housing unit where all your filter slots in, and you can obviously have all your different filters, and so, but that you can arrange by the way you want it and the way you're going to be using it. So what's still the same as the filter rings, the lens thread rings. So you've got different stepping rings that you've got. Let me just get them out here for you. Right, so built in, this is the 82mm step ring, so this can go straight onto like a 1635mm lens. And then you've got them stepping down to 67mm. So you're going to screw that on and screw this onto that particular ring. So my Canon 17-40 is a 77mm filter thread. Put the 77mm ring in, this goes onto that, and then your filter holder clips onto this. The other nice thing about this is that the polarizer fits into this. All exactly the same still. You can put the polarizer in, you can adjust it with little wheels on the side while your filter holder is on your camera. So you're going to have your polarizer right next to your lens, filter holder on, and then your filters will slot into it. So you can use polarizers with any of your grad filters, you can use it with your long exposure filters. All of those things are still exactly the same. Polarizer is really nice. I'll show you in a little bit later in the video where I played with that. That is still there. Right, so that's my basic composition. Just getting a little bit more light here. What I'm going to be doing now is using these little adjustment rings on the side of the filter holders to adjust my polarizer to see what the effect is on the water, to get the optimal effect. Right, so adjusting it, there comes the glare. There I'm taking the glare away again. It's also doing a lovely job in controlling the highlights on the far left of this of the shot. So very nice effect it does there. Our angle towards the water is not ideal to get a lot of detail in the water itself, but once I start processing these images, you'll start seeing that there's quite a bit of detail in that water. Yes, there we go. That should be optimal. So, let's talk about the holder itself. The one on my right hand side is the old NiSi Filter. I'll just turn it around like that. Right. This is the old NiSi Filter holder one, the one I got in 2015. This is the new one, the V5 Pro. This one is the 100mm system, HSV3, version 3 I presume. This is the latest one. Okay. On the on-look, not much difference. That size is the same. The shape is slightly different. This one is broader versus this one is more rounded. Also, I'm holding them exactly the same so you can see the inscription at the top. This one has got the little spigot where you pull to release it. It's going to be either at the top or at the bottom, where this one is at the side. Now I personally prefer this way because this is out of the way of accidentally bumping a filter when you slot it in that could get scratched. Where this one is on the side, and it's also while you're busy shooting, when you've got it on your lens, it's easier to, for me, if you've got that on, to grip this little pin and then just adjust your filters in any which way direction you would like to. Alright, the biggest difference for me between the two filter systems is the slots. This is the old one, and on my old video, I'll link that all in again. I really battled to get the filters in and out of this filter, this holder system. The reason being, these got these, call it spring-loaded plastic slots, and they were just really tight. The NiSi filter, especially a long exposure filter, had to go in one particular way, and if it didn't go in that way, it was a bitch to get it in and out. Anyway, so what I would recommend people do is that they loosen these little screws in the front that will expand these little channels a little bit to accommodate the filters easier. The Lee filters slotted into this nicely. It's slotted in better, to be honest, because they were softer. The glass filters of the old NiSi filter system, like I said, it was very tight. Now, here's the new one. And they've got a lot, the channels is a lot shallower. They haven't got this spring-loaded little thing in. You just slot it in, and it's almost got like a little bump on the inside there. So you've got it's bump. So that is what pushes against the sides of the filter. So it will push against this side and not on the front, as you will see. It's what the old filters and like the Lee filters also do that. The Lee filter system is just so much easier to slot it in and out, and I've never had any issues with that. Right, so that is the major difference for me in this. One of the things that I think NiSi still needs to address is the fact that once you've got your step ring on, this one, that fits in there. Okay, so that's in there. Once this is fitted to your camera, onto your lens, it's easy to put the polarizing filter in because you simply hold down the screws, and I would recommend doing that before you put the holder itself on, but it's still pretty easy. You hold down the screws and you tighten it, and what I said in the previous video is do not tighten it so that it is tight, because you will battle to get it out. The same thing is the case with this. You need to tighten it so that it is flush. It doesn't touch one of your filters when you slide it in. It's not skew or off thread or anything like that. So you simply tighten it so you feel it doesn't want to turn more. Do not turn it more than where it stops by itself. The reason being is you simply cannot get the bloody thing out. If you're packing your stuff away and you take your filter holder off and you stick it away in your thing, this will probably still be stuck to your camera. So to get your, let's put it in there. Right, see, like that. Now it's nice and flush. If beautiful. You can turn it any which way you want with your little screws, but now to get it out. So you literally need to, as you can see, there's hardly any grip to this. So if this is sitting on the front of your camera, and let's say you're in mid shoot and you don't want to remove your camera or remove your filter system completely to get it off, because doing it this way it's a lot easier to get it out. But if it's on the front of your lens, it is just a nightmare to remove it while busy shooting, because now it's sitting like this. So now you need to twist it. The problem now is you don't know when it's going to pop out. So alright, there it's loose, and as you can see there, you need to be very careful. You will be dropping this thing in the sand, on the rocks, wherever you are, if you are going to be fiddling with this too much while shooting. Now, my suggestion to Lee is, and I've said it to Hogar as well from Landscapegear, you should tell them they should make a protective cap that fits over this. So you can take, because this thing stores inside the filter holder in this little box. I wouldn't do that. I would like to see a slot dedicated to this, because then you can put a hold, you can leave your polarizing filter in here, because 90% of the time you're going to be shooting with it anyway. I don't shoot with it that often, but that's just my personal taste. Especially if you're shooting video and all that kind of stuff, you can simply just screw this on and you're ready to go with a polarizing filter added. I would even suggest to them making other, like 1-stop, 2-stop, 3-stop grad ND filters that will fit in this as well. So for video shooters it could be really cool. But what I would suggest is that you've got a plastic cap that covers this thing that you can slot back in. So you take it out with the plastic cap, screw it onto your lens, take the cap off, and you're good to go. You just put it on and it's on. So you don't have to fiddle too much with it to get it off. In this particular kit, I've got 3 different types of solid glass ND filters. I've got a 10-stop one, which is this one, which is the big stopper equivalent. I'm not going to talk too much about this because I've already covered it in the previous video. These are awesome. The color rendition is absolutely fantastic. This is a 3-stop, great for video stuff. And this one here is a 6-stop, so that's basically a little stopper that you've got there. So they all go into their slots, and there's more slots than what you need. Okay, in this kit they have, okay, let's put that one aside for a second. They've got the 0.9 Softgrad filter, and we'll talk about that in a second. And on this is the reverse grad. Reverse grad is, it's light at the top, dark in the middle. Great for shooting sunsets, when the sun is on the horizon, that kind of thing. It's beautiful. Where you're going to battle a little bit with this is when you are shooting like trees, when you've got trees in the foreground, mountains, that kind of thing, it might battle with. So that is the one filter, reverse grad 3-stop. It is as easy as they say. This is the little magic little filter thing they've got in here. It's got a ND 1.2, just got a dark strip right in the middle. This is beautiful for when you're shooting sunsets, especially if you combine these two, like the Softgrad filter, and you've got your clouds is darkened at the top, but you're still blowing out that highlight on the horizon where the sun is setting. You can simply slot this in. It's great for shooting over when you've got a straight parallel horizon. It will not work so nicely when you're shooting with something big in the foreground covering the middle of the screen, or the middle of your image. The reason being is that then if you've got a tree sitting there, you're going to have this dark band in the middle of it, which is not completely ideal. So if you're shooting over the ocean, over a lake, over a salt flat, anything that's flat right into the horizon, this will be fantastic to work with. It's got limited use. Personally, I would not even bother buying this, but it is a great thing if you are shooting seascapes 95% of the time. Let's put the horizon in and see what the effect is we get here. Oh, you can see there's a huge effect it creates. Oh, way too much for this scene if you want to shoot. So if you've got that really extreme conditions where you're going to be using all three of these filters, I think it's going to be very limiting, to be honest, with lots of stuff that you shoot. You're basically going to have to shoot over an open horizon, like over the ocean, over a lake or something like that. What we want to shoot here, it simply is not going to be ideal for that. Whereas if you're shooting with normal graduated filters, you can get away with trees, mountains, objects in the foreground that extends past that. It's not that the effect is not that heavy. And to be honest, at this stage, I'd rather spend time in the field shooting than versus processing. But to be honest with this, I'd rather stick to shooting rapid exposures and blending that into my final image. I think it's just going to be more natural. So let's just slot. Right, so that goes back in there. Then the only one I could compare with the Lee filters is the 0.9 Softgrad filter. I compared it with the old one that I got the first time, and I compared it with the Lee, which is my go-to filter system at this stage. Right, so let's quickly have a look at the differences between the old filters, the new filters. Okay, the old ones came in these pouches. You used that to put in filter holders, and right, so old NiSi filter. Just get this right way around. There we go. And the new one. The clear difference we see here is the rounded corners of the new one. This aids in slotting it into the new filter system. The old one, the square one, it's got square corners and it makes it really tough to slot in. Even in the new filter holder system. So let's have a look. It's just doesn't want to. You need to line it up, because if you put it in, it's sticky to the side. Now if you get to the middle part there, if you're pushing it slightly at the angle, it's going to get caught on this, and then you battle to get it in. So if this is stuck on your camera, you see you need to apply quite a bit of force, and that could either put it out of level, compromise the composition if you forgot to tighten your ball head or your tripod head enough. You're going to push it down. It might slip out of your hand that way, falling, cracking, scratching, all those kind of things. So you need to really line it up to get it going in. Let's have a look at the old filter system, and you'll see here now how we battled with this. And you can hear that sliding in and out. It is a lot easier when you've got it like this in your hand to apply pressure, not while it's sitting on the camera. Right, that's the old filter. So let's quickly look at what the newer filter will be like in the old holder. Oh, slides in like a dream. Just with those rounded corners, it's just so much easier to move in and out. It doesn't get caught as easy on the sides. Right, so that's the new holder, and just slots in like a dream, easily moves up and down. That was the main difference. Next thing, the biggest difference for me, and the one that I compared it to, is how dark are they. The old NiSi filter, I complain that it was quite cold and it was not as dark as what the Lee filters was. So if I put in a 3-stop, I'll set my exposure correctly, and it's in the. I do a comparison where I slide it in and out live in the video while I'm busy recording on my camera, and you can clearly see this is about a stop to a stop and a half lighter than what the Lee filters is. It is staggering to see the difference in that. This one, however, is definitely quite a bit darker than what the old NiSi filter was, which is amazing. It is still not as dark as the Lees, but it's close. If I've got to choose between the two still, to be honest, I would still choose the Lee in terms of darkness, the stopping power that the filter has got. This is cool. If you're starting out with the filter kits and everything, this is great. I still would personally choose the Lee filters for the stopping power itself. Now you can combine the lot. You can use a NiSi long exposure filters with Lee grade filters, and you can use NiSi grade filters with a big stopper, for instance, and you can mix and match them across the board because they all fit into the same holders. But if you're going to buy a new system, the NiSi system is pretty much as complete as you're going to need, because it comes with all these filters. Then the downside of the Lee filters is the price. To get the same system with the polarizing, everything in the Lee is significantly more expensive. Now, like I said, you can buy the filter holder system for the NiSi and get all the step rings and get the polarizer with just the filter holder system. Also comes a little beautiful little box like this, just without the filter slots, and you can buy the Lee filters and use them in there. To be honest, if I've got to start over again from scratch, where I've never had the opportunity to compare the Lee filters with the NiSi filters, Lee obviously being resin filters, this is glass, is that to buy a NiSi filter system ready to go out the box would be the absolute ideal thing. With the Lee filters, I remember still back in 2013 when I bought them the first time, is that I had to do quite a bit of research as to what, because you had to buy your filter kit separate, then you had to buy your big stoppers separate, you had to buy the grade filter separate. With this, it comes boom, done in a box, ships to you like that. Hoogat will even chuck in some chocolates for you, and it's ready to go. So if I've got to start over again in investing in a filter system, I would go the NiSi route with the new filters, not the old ones. If people are selling them second hand, do not buy them. And that was in 2015, so I would probably say anything from 2016 backwards, I would not even touch them. This is presumably 2017 made, and these are absolutely great. Now couple this with the polarizer, it's beautiful. I could hardly see a difference, and you'll see it in the video as well when I go through the images in a couple of minutes. So in conclusion, it's the new NiSi filter system is magic. Would I swap out my Lee filters right now for the NiSi filters? No, I won't. Would I swap my filter system for the NiSi system? Yes, I would. The actual filters itself, I would not swap yet. And I say it again, it's because I'm used to the Lee filters. They work. I've not had any issues with them. They are great. So that's it. I would, if you are investing in a new filter system from the scratch, buy the NiSis. If you are an existing Lee filter shooter, stick with them. If you want to swap the filter, the holder systems, I would definitely do that if I was you. Lee need to catch a wake up in this. Their filters are still fantastic. Their filter holder system needs a major upgrade. Right, so let's get going to the computer and look at some of the images that we've got. Right, thanks guys. Right, we're back. Now we're going to quickly test the differences between my two different NiSi filters and my Lee filters. Now, seeing as I've only got the 0.9 Softgrad filter, I'm only going to compare the Lee one to that. So what I got in the previous video was a 0.9 soft nano filter. So this is the one that, if you go look at the old video, and I'll put up the links, this one was about a stop lighter than what the Lee filters was, both the 0.6 and the 0.9 Softgrad. So now what I'm curious to see is that when testing it at the ocean with those boats, the Lee filter and the NiSi filter were quite close to each other. The Lee was still a little bit darker, but I'm curious to see if this one is lighter than what the new NiSi filters is. So we're going to quickly do that. So while I'm recording this, I'm going to be recording a video on this, so you'll actually see me put the filters in and out, and that way you can quickly see what the difference is, what the actual difference is, and I will explain to you which ones I'm putting in when. So this camera is rolling at the moment. It's filming the scene without any filters. Excuse me. I've got my NiSi filter holders on here. I've got no polarizer, and I don't want to use the polarizer because you don't often use the polarizer unless there's stuff you want to get rid of the glare. Now we are shooting next to water, as you'll see in the video, but I don't want to use the polarizer in this case because I want to get the effect of just the filters itself. And I'm shooting with the sun at about 45 degrees behind me, purely because I want to shoot this with the light. I'm not going to be shooting this into the sun. Into the sun, you're most likely going to have to bracket, and seeing as I've only got the 0.9 Softgrad and the new NiSi filter kit, I'm curious to get a perspective difference between them shooting with the light. So obviously there's a little bit of cloud moving around, so the light is changing a little bit as we're going, but I'm going to be swapping the filters in and out pretty quickly. So right, let's get cracking. Natural scene, filming it as the camera sees. It's f11, ISO 100, 1/40th of a second. So right, let's go ahead and put in my what I would call my control filters, my Lee filters, my Lee 0.9 Softgrad. There we go, that one there. So this is, as I'm recording it, the Lee filters 0.9 Softgrad going in. Right, there we go, let's have a quick look. Darkens it very nicely, gives a lot of nice detail in the sky and in the mountain itself. Let's move it up and down a little bit. Right, so I would say about there should be the shot. Okay, right, happy with that. Next one I'm going to be putting in is the NiSi 0.9 Softgrad filter. Let's get that. This one is the NiSi Soft Nano IR, where this one is just the Soft Nano GND. Not sure if there's any difference between that, but let's have a look. So this is the one in the current NiSi filter holders. So Lee 0.9 Softgrad going out, NiSi 0.9 Softgrad going in. I would say that's very, very close to what the Softgrad is on the Lee. From what I see here, and we'll definitely see it back better on the computer screen, is that the Lee is still a little bit darker, just a touch on the Nano IR filter. So right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the old NiSi filter, the original one, which I got from NiSi in 2015. So the Nano Soft IR from the current NiSi filter set's going out. And the old one is going to go in. go. 0.9. Also says on here NiSi Soft Nano IR GND 0.9. So description is the same. Let's see what the filter does. Still have not changed any settings on the camera. In we go. Yes. It's definitely lighter. And this light conditions is actually quite good. The leaf filters are definitely darker. So right, this is the old NiSi filter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slot this one back out and put the Lee back in. Leaf filter going back in. Oh, it's a lot darker. It's way darker than what the NiSi filters is. So right, that's the Lee again. See it? Let's move it up and down a bit. Just so you can see that the effect this gives. Right, so let's put in the old NiSi again. The original NiSi filter going in. Definitely not as dark as the Lee. So right, let's slot it up and down a bit. There it is, quite dark. Right. And now we're going to do the new one. Must say the new filter holders is really good. Okay, definitely darker than that one. So slot down, and up, down, up again. Right, let me quickly see if I can see any differences between the old one and the new one. Clear differences is rounded corners on the new one, sharp corners on the old one. That definitely aids in putting it in and out of the filter holder. So holding it up next to each other, I can hardly see any difference in the grads. Looks about the same. So, well, I will need to get back to the studio, get a look at the footage. Obviously it will show, I will show you guys this in the video so you can make up your own mind. The Lee filters, in my opinion, are still darker than what the NiSi is. Old one and the new one. I must have a quick look. The old one, the old NiSi filter versus the new NiSi filter, how dark they are. Let's quickly just use these two. Right, we're slotting in the new one. There we go. It's in. Take it down. Take it up. Down. Up again. Now it's going out. And old one is going in. Oh, these rounded corners makes a huge difference. Right, in they go. Right, so we're going to take it all the way down. Take it all the way up again. Down again, up, right, okay, let's put it away. Right, let's get back to the studio, let's have a look at some images. I'll shoot a couple of images with the 3 different filters, with the settings and scene exactly like it is, and we'll talk about that when we look at the images. Right, thanks guys. Guys, we are in front of the computer to look at some of those NiSi Filters shots. Right, what I've got here is a shot that I did this holiday, and it's the same photo, the same scene, two different filters. First up, I've got the Lee filters, and then secondly, I've got the NiSi filters to compare what the two is. And I'll just take you back to the library function where you can see the settings. So as you can see, all these images of the boats were shot with the same settings at the top here. This is a bracketed exposure. So you see 1/5, 1/10, and 1/4 of a second, and then you got 1/5, 1/10, and 1/4 of a second. f11 ISO 100, 17 millimeters on my Canon 6D. The next set of images is just a comparison between the old NiSi filter, the new NiSi filter, and the Lee filters. And what I did in this case is I put the filters in, I slided them all the way down to get the maximum effect of the dark part of the filter. So it's not graded, so it's completely, the whole scene is covered just with the filter to get the overall effect of what the filters does. Same story, same exposures, 1/20th of a second, f11 ISO 100, 1/20th, 1/20th. So right, and this was taken a couple of seconds apart from each other, so that will give you a good idea of the different effectors on the filter. So quickly, let's have a look at the boats. Let's go into the develop module. Everything is zeroed out. I'll just click the reset again, but they are stock standard, straight out of camera there. This is a bracketed exposure. This was my middle exposure. On this, I had the NiSi polarizer in as well, and the first set was shot with the Lee filters, and it's a 0.3 3-stop Softgrad filter I had in here. So there you'll see, there's the boats. That's my neutral exposure, the one as the camera reads it. Then I've got one darker and one lighter. So one underexposed, overexposed. Now the next stuff is done with the NiSi filters. There's the normal middle exposure, underexposed, overexposed. Now right, let's compare the two normal exposures quickly. Right, we are now on the Lee filters one. So let's look at the NiSi filters. Definitely lighter. You can see the difference in the highlights over here on this section of the photo. NiSi, Lee. Also in the water, you'll see it. Right, let's look at the underexposed one. Okay, first up we've got the Lee filters. Beautiful detail in the highlights over there. Still some detail in the shadows that we can rescue. But right, Lee filter, NiSi filter. You'll also notice it's quite a bit cooler. Right, so Lee filters, NiSi filters. Everything stays the same. White balance is all exactly the same as it was shot. NiSi filter, Lee filter. Alright, let's look at the overexposed images. Okay, first up we've got Lee, NiSi. Lee, NiSi. Clearly a huge difference in the stopping power of the NiSi filters versus the Lee filters. That's NiSi and Lee again. Lots of detail on the left hand corner here versus the NiSi, it's almost completely blown out. Exact same settings, same filters, both shot with a polarizing filter built in. So, right, this is a test I did last. This one was done to see what the difference is between the old NiSi filter that I had, the newer NiSi filter that came in the set, and also the Lee filter. All done on a 0.9 Softgrad filter. So this is the one I got in 2015. Exposure set to the middle, and please keep a look on the look at the histogram at the top to see the difference. These things were shot seconds apart from each other. This is 3 images that I shot with to do a direct comparison. So let's quickly get these to be the same, as there's a slight difference in the white balance in them. So let's just auto sync them and make them all 5500 Kelvin, normal daylight. Right, so all three of them will be 5500, so we'll get a good indication of which one does what. Just turn auto sync off. Okay, first image was shot with the NiSi filter from back in 2015. This is the old version versus the newer one, which is probably a 2017 model that I got from Landscapegear for the review. Alright, so let's have a look. The reason why I set the white balance, nothing else has been touched in the editing, everything is set to 0. The reason why I did that is because I was shooting in auto white balance, so there's a slight little difference. There was a slight little difference in the raw files on the white balance. So those are all zeroed out, so now we can look at, we can compare apples to apples. Alright, so old NiSi filter, the 0.9 Softgrad, there we go, 1/20th of a second, f11, ISO 100. So, and here is the newer NiSi filter. Let's have a look. There's a slight difference in the histogram at the top, and you'll see that there is more darks in the newer NiSi filter, and also a slight little difference in the yellow part. But so it is slightly darker than the old NiSi. Right, now let's move over to the Lee filter. It is definitely a lot darker. You can quickly see that histogram shifting all the way to the left. And what I did here is they were all put in. I slotted them down completely so that the full frame was covered by the dark area, so you can see the whole 3 stops darkening over the whole image to get a good idea of what it is. So clearly the Lee filter is significantly darker than what the Nisis is. Let's compare the old NiSi filter to the Lee. Okay, that's the old NiSi filter one there, and Lee filter. Old NiSi, Lee filter. Definitely a lot darker. Let's take the new NiSi filter versus the Lee. On the same settings, seconds apart, clearly a big difference in the stopping power of the Lee versus the NiSi. And then let's just compare the old NiSi to the new NiSi filter. Old one, new one. Old one, new one. There's a very slight difference, but especially if you look over here in this highlight section on the bank of the dam, that's the old one, new one, quite a bit darker. Alright, so there we have it. The older NiSi filters I had back in 2015 were significantly lighter than the newer ones that they've got out. So I presume that they've either listened to me or to a lot of other of the photographers that might have been complaining about this, but the new ones are looking really good.